Did anyone notice how Rick's car was back in episode 5 after having been destroyed by the Knife family in episode 4? And it was mysteriously missing from episodes 2 and 3? What if I told you that this makes perfect sense? And the reason why this timeline is confusing is because this season, time is running backwards. What if I told you the order of the episodes isn't like this, but like this? We're gonna delve into that theory now, but before that, I need to ask you to please consider leaving a like and subscribing, because it really does mean the world to me. Plus it's free and you can always unsubscribe at a later date if I end up being a prick. There'd be no hard feelings. Anyway, where were we? Okay, so a lot of this is coming from some guy on Reddit, so bear with me as I try and break it down. Episode 1 was a new start, it was a new year. Then episode 2 was a Die Hard episode, essentially a Christmas themed episode. Already you're looking at this thinking, why would a Christmas episode go after a New Year episode? Well, let's take a look at episode 3, the Thanksgiving episode. Then we have episode 4, the one with the Knife family, a spooky story that would fit right in with Halloween. The themes of these episodes are going in the exact opposite direction. There's another element to this theory that we need to look at, the Choco Taco problem.
Whoa, how long have we been asleep?
It can't be that long. Oh my god. No! They killed the Choco Taco!
So in episode 4, Rick and Morty address how the taco-shaped ice cream that was created back in 1984 and has become a staple of snack time in America. It was announced by Klondike, the people who make it, that they were going to discontinue it. Now the announcement was made in August of this year, so if the week before it was the Thanksgiving episode, then its announcement matches up with the backwards timeline theory, because obviously this came before Thanksgiving. I did think it was weird to have a Halloween episode after Thanksgiving, but it wasn't specifically Halloween, and maybe they thought we'd be closer to the date of the spooky season when it aired. And you could argue that the Christmas episode wasn't really Christmas at all, because is Die Hard a Christmas movie? I know that's been debated by everyone for, the past 40 years, but it's something to think about. I think episode 5 really supports the idea that time is actually moving backwards since the season 5 finale. Throughout the first 4 episodes, there have been references to Rick and Jerry's friendship, which apparently began off screen. But then in episode 5, we see them officially become friends, on screen, with Rick even going out of his way to help Jerry. So maybe the reason why we never saw them become friends, and they was friends in the first 4 episodes, is because they became friends in episode 5, and it goes backwards. So we've saw the friendship that was developed in episode 5. Okay, now this smart stuff here is basically verbatim from this Redditor. One user pointed out how season 5 ended with Rick and Morty barely escaping a black hole, which he says is interesting because, within Einstein's theory of relativity, by going through a black hole, you would emerge in a parallel antiverse, in which time could potentially flow backwards. By this theory, if you could somehow survive entering into a black hole, for example by being the smartest man in the universe, then you would wind up in a universe where time flows backwards. We know that Rick and Morty loves to play with complex theoretical physics, because Rick and Morty is only for smart people, obviously. We know that they were close to a black hole at the end of season 5, and we know that their saucer ran out of fuel. This user's theory, at some point, off screen, Rick and Morty went through the black hole, either being sucked in after running out of fuel, or possibly intentionally. Depending on how they were depicting backwards time, we might see this happen in the finale, which normally would have been the premiere. So the episodes are sort of out of order, because time is. Rick has identified that the simplest means to fixing the portal gun tech, and to escape in this antiverse, is by waiting until before the event of the season 5 finale, which broke the portal gun. This explains why Rick doesn't seem to be at all worried about fixing it. He just has to wait her out. It's possible that Rick saw this as a solution to the portal gun tech, and entered the black hole intentionally. A bit far-fetched? Yeah, probably. But I think that's a solid theory. I don't have the Redditor's name written down, but I really think that's a good theory. That could explain why time is moving backwards. The fortune cookies in episode 5 could also be proof that the timeline isn't quite right. What if the reason why the fortune cookies were so precise is because something is wrong with time? Maybe the Locaran, is it called? I think it's called a Locaran, that could predict things, was feeding off the energy of a timeline that is broken, hence all of the fortunes coming true. Although the time of the events themselves are certainly not in reverse, with how on point this season has been, I wouldn't put it past the writers to do something where the world around the characters has literally been broken this whole time, and only at the end will they notice it. It does seem like the calendar is just going backwards, but time passes as normal. A day is a day, but as each day passes, you go back in the year, you go earlier in the year, and somehow nobody questions why Thanksgiving comes after Christmas. It's going by Memento rules. You know that movie where we saw the end of the movie at the very start, and then worked backwards? I can completely see Rick saying, okay, it looks like we're doing Memento this season. There may be another correlation supporting this theory. We don't really know how long Rick and Morty were stuck on that saucer. It could be weeks or months or years. And they made a reference to when Iron Man was stuck on that ship during the Infinity War movies. So if Rick went to some backwards event time universe, then there could be a whole season's worth of events before the moment that portal travel was disrupted. Also, it's interesting how we have not done anything about the new Rick Prime. Really, we should be focusing on that if the universe events are moving forward. It's almost like Rick just forgot that Rick Prime was an issue. Or it could be supporting the backwards time. It hasn't happened yet. The things we saw in episode 1 just haven't happened yet. One other piece of the puzzle. They showed the passage of time at the end of the Knife Family episode. It was 1 month, then time passed, and it was a later month in the year. It would be an earlier month if this theory was true, surely? Or is it not that the time itself is running backwards? Maybe it's like periods of time. It's like if I told you a story and then another story that happened to me this year, but I started telling you by telling you the most recent one and working backwards story by story. That would explain how 1 month followed another. There it's portions of time out of order. I'm not sure if we've discovered a secret that the writers are planning something, or if it's just an oversight. It's also possible that the Smith family is just in a universe with different holiday dates. They did change universes in the first episode, even though Rick said the only difference is they pronounce it Parmesan instead of Parmesan. Maybe the dates are out of order. Shows have done the backwards time thing before, but not in the same way. Family Guy had an episode where Brian uses a time machine to impress women, and then he accidentally causes time to run in reverse. And there was an episode of Red Dwarf where time literally ran backwards, but this would be the first show to wear episodes out of order on purpose. We're not talking about times like when episodes are delayed and aired in a different order, like all the continuity errors in that season of Roseanne. You know, the one that was interrupted by the OJ trial, or the final season of the Drew Carey show. This is doing something networks usually force on creatives, but on purpose, airing episodes out of order, but it's canon. Here's the main part that ruins the theory for me. In the end of the most recent episode, Rick fixes a portal gun, but it is broken in all the episodes we've seen so far, which sort of throws this entire theory into the trash. But ignoring that, what do you think? Maybe it's bonkers, but I read it and I thought it was interesting, so I thought I'd share it with all of you. Let me know in the comments what you think. Oh, and please leave a like and subscribe. You can always unsubscribe at a later date if you don't like what I'm posting. It's completely free. Go and watch these other videos I've done. You'll enjoy them, I think. Or not, I don't mind. Stick around. It's good having you all. Right, I'll let you go. Bye.